The sun was a cruel enemy that day. Its fiery heat shimmered over the barren desert, making the sand look like molten gold. A group of teenage bullies laughed loudly, their boots kicking up dust with every step. In the middle of the scorching plain, they had cornered something, or rather someone, small, trembling, and unlike anything they had ever seen. She wasn't human. Not really. Her skin shimmered faintly in the sunlight, almost like liquid silver. Her eyes were too big, too round, and too bright. They seemed to glow a soft, eerie blue that hurt to look at. She was thin and fragile-looking, carrying nothing but a small, cracked container that had maybe a few drops of water. Every time the bullies pushed her, she stumbled, her alien fingers clutching the container as if it were a treasure. "Please, just a little water," she whispered, her voice soft, almost musical, but filled with fear. The bullies laughed. "Beg for it? Ha! We're not sharing, freak." One of them kicked a small rock at her. She flinched, and the sound of it hitting the container made a sharp, hollow clang that echoed across the desert. The few precious drops of water spilled onto the hot sand. Her eyes widened in terror, and her tiny shoulders shook. She sank to her knees, staring at the sand as though she could will the water back into her hands. She whispered something in a language the bullies didn't understand. It sounded like wind chimes mixed with a hum, soft, sad, and beautiful. The bullies didn't care. They walked away laughing, leaving her alone. The desert was merciless. The sun burned her back. Her lips cracked and turned dry, and her chest heaved with the kind of desperation only someone truly dying of thirst could feel. And then he appeared. He wasn't like the bullies. He was just a human, average height, messy hair, clothes dusty from walking, but there was something different about him. Something calm. His name was Ethan. He had been walking through the desert on his way home from the nearby outpost when he saw her. He stopped, took a step closer, and knelt, slowly, without rushing her. "Hey," he said gently, "are you okay?" The alien girl froze. Her glowing eyes darted toward him. She didn't understand his words, but she understood the tone. His voice was calm. It didn't scream danger. Ethan reached into his backpack. He pulled out his water canteen. It was metal, scratched and dented from years of use. He opened it and let a few drops fall into his hand. Then slowly he held his palm out to her. The girl stared. She hesitated. Maybe no human had ever treated her like this before. The desert had taught her to fear everything. But there was something about Ethan's eyes, gentle, patient, alive, that made her take the tiniest step forward. Her fingers brushed his. She touched the water. And then she drank. The water flowed down her throat, and her glowing eyes brightened for the first time. A soft hum escaped her lips, a sound that felt like a sigh of relief, of life returning. Ethan smiled. "There you go. Easy, right?" But before she could respond, the sound of footsteps hit the hot sand behind them. The bullies had returned. They were angry. Their laughter was gone, replaced by cruel sneers. "You think you can just steal from us?" one of them yelled. "That water belongs to us." The alien girl's eyes widened, panic rising. She tried to grab the water from Ethan, but he held it protectively, stepping in front of her. He could feel the hot air of their hatred, the weight of the threat pressing down. "Back off," Ethan said firmly. "She's done nothing to you." One of the bullies scoffed. "A freak? Done nothing? She's an alien, man. She's worthless. She doesn't belong here." Ethan clenched his fists. He knew he couldn't fight all of them, not here, not in the open desert. But maybe he could scare them. He had always carried a small tool with him, a strange, old device he had found years ago in the abandoned outpost. He flipped a switch. The device hummed, and a soft blue light pulsed from it. The bullies froze. It was just a small gadget, but the alien girl's eyes lit up with recognition. She stepped closer to Ethan, almost touching him, her small hand trembling. One of the bullies muttered, "What the? Is that some kind of alien toy?" Ethan didn't answer. He focused on the girl. "It's okay," he whispered. "Stay behind me." The blue light grew stronger, forming a faint aura around them both. The air shimmered and suddenly, the desert felt colder, quieter, almost alive. The bullies backed up, unsure of what to do. They had never seen anything like this. "Go," Ethan said to the girl. "Run." She didn't need to be told twice. She darted across the sand, faster than any human could run. Ethan kept the device glowing, holding it up to make a wall between him and the bullies. The bullies cursed, but they didn't follow. Not today. Not against something they didn't understand. Ethan exhaled. The desert seemed peaceful again. But he knew this was only the beginning. He looked at the girl. Her eyes were still glowing softly. Her chest heaved from the run. "Are you hurt?" he asked. She shook her head slowly, then pointed toward the horizon, where a distant spaceship was barely visible, a sleek, silver craft half buried in the desert sand. It was damaged, old, and maybe her home? Ethan's heart raced. If she was from there, what had happened to her? Why was she alone in this desert? And why had the bullies been so cruel to her? He couldn't let her go. Not yet. "Come on," he said gently. "Let's get you somewhere safe." The alien girl hesitated. Then slowly she nodded. And together, they disappeared into the golden desert, unaware of the eyes watching from far above. Hidden eyes, silent and patient, that had noticed everything. Because in a world full of humans, aliens, and secrets older than the stars, nothing ever went unnoticed. And this was only the beginning. The desert stretched endlessly, golden and silent. The sun was slowly sinking, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Ethan walked carefully, keeping an eye on the alien girl beside him. She was small, fragile, and still trembling from fear. But her glowing blue eyes were brighter now, curious and watchful. "Can you talk to me?" Ethan asked gently. The alien girl shook her head. Instead, she reached into a small pouch tied around her waist. From it, she pulled out a tiny crystal. It pulsed faintly with light, soft and rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Ethan stared at it. He had never seen anything like it. She pressed it to her chest, and suddenly, images filled Ethan's mind, not with words but with feelings and pictures. He saw a city in the stars, towers taller than mountains, glowing with blue and silver light. He saw her people, small like her, moving gracefully among strange machines. And then destruction. Fires. Smoke. Aliens running, screaming. Ships falling from the sky. Ethan swallowed hard. "You're home?" he asked. She nodded. A tear rolled down her cheek, leaving a glowing streak behind. She whispered a sound soft and trembling. Ethan didn't understand the words, but he understood the meaning. Danger, loss, fear. The desert wind blew, and for a moment, all was quiet. Too quiet. "Stay close," Ethan warned. He had learned something in the desert. Quiet often meant trouble. A shadow moved far ahead. Something fast. Something watching them. Ethan froze. He couldn't see clearly in the fading light, but he could feel it, cold, calculating, hungry. The alien girl stepped closer to him. Her tiny hand brushed his arm. He looked down at her, seeing trust and fear mixed together. Then it happened. A sudden roar, sharp and loud, broke the silence. Sand exploded into the air, as something huge leaped toward them. Ethan barely had time to raise the device. The blue light flared, creating a shield between them and the creature. It was unlike anything he had seen. Part machine, part animal. Its eyes glowed red. Metal spikes ran along its back, and its claws dug into the sand. The creature snarled, a sound that shook the air. Ethan's heart pounded. He had no weapon, no way to fight this. Only the device. But it pulsed with light, responding to the alien girl. She touched his arm, and the pulse grew stronger, forming a barrier around them both. The creature hissed and tried to smash through the light, but it bounced off like hitting stone. Ethan took a deep breath. He had no idea how this worked, but somehow, her presence made the device stronger. "Run," he shouted. The alien girl nodded. Together, they sprinted across the desert, the creature chasing them with terrifying speed. The sand burned their feet, but they didn't stop. Behind them, the sun disappeared, and the desert was swallowed by darkness. Finally, they reached the edge of a canyon. The walls rose high, jagged and sharp, casting long shadows. Ethan paused, breathing heavily. The creature stopped at the canyon's edge, growling, unable to follow. Its red eyes glowed in the dark. Then, with a hiss, it disappeared into the shadows. Ethan slumped against a rock, exhausted. The alien girl sank to the ground beside him, still glowing softly. She looked at him, eyes wide, and pressed her hand to his. He smiled, tired but relieved. You okay? She nodded, then did something unexpected. She took his hand and placed the crystal in it. It pulsed warmly, stronger than ever. Images flashed in Ethan's mind again, ships, stars, danger, but also hope. He realized the crystal wasn't just a memory tool. It was a guide. A map. Ethan looked at her. You want me to help you get home? She nodded, her glowing eyes full of trust. The night passed slowly. Ethan kept watch while the alien girl slept. The desert was full of danger, and he knew more creatures could come at any moment. But he also felt something he hadn't felt before. Responsibility. She wasn't just an alien. She was a life, fragile and beautiful, in need of protection. And somehow he knew he could do it. Morning came, pale and fragile, with a thin mist over the sand. They moved carefully through the canyon, following the directions in the crystal. Each step brought them closer to something important, though Ethan didn't yet understand what. As they reached the canyon's exit, the alien girl froze. Her body stiffened, eyes wide. Ethan followed her gaze. On the horizon, barely visible, was a group of humans. But these humans were different. They weren't soldiers or travelers. They wore black armor, covered in strange symbols, and carried weapons that hummed with energy. Ethan's stomach tightened. We need to hide, he whispered. They ducked behind a large rock, watching. The humans moved with purpose, scanning the desert. But then one of them stopped. He lifted a hand, and Ethan felt a strange chill. The figure's eyes were glowing faintly blue, like the alien girl's. She gasped, almost inaudible. Ethan's heart raced. Who were these people? And why did she react like that? Suddenly, one of the armored humans pointed in their direction. The group started moving closer. Ethan grabbed the girl's hand. Run, he whispered urgently. They ran deeper into the canyon, twisting through shadows and jagged rocks. The alien girl clutched the crystal, guiding them with flashes of light. Every now and then, Ethan caught glimpses of strange creatures in the desert. Wolves with metallic legs, birds with glowing wings. The desert was alive with danger, and they had no choice but to trust each other. Hours passed. Finally, the canyon opened into a hidden valley, lush and green. An impossible oasis in the middle of the desert. Water ran in small streams, and strange plants glowed softly in the dim light. The alien girl stopped, kneeling beside the water. She cupped her hands, drinking eagerly, and then looked at Ethan. He knelt beside her, splashing water on his face. We made it for now. The alien girl pressed her hand to the crystal again. This time, it projected a holographic map, showing a distant planet, a fleet of ships, and danger coming their way. Ethan studied it. So we're not safe yet. She shook her head, her glowing eyes serious. She whispered something in her language. Ethan didn't understand, but the tone was clear. We must keep moving. Above them, the sky darkened. A shadow passed across the moon. Ethan looked up and froze. Far above, a massive ship hovered silently, scanning the valley with bright lights. It was enormous, alien, and unmistakably dangerous. Ethan knew one thing for sure. This was no longer just about a thirsty girl in the desert. This was a war. A chase. And they were right in the middle of it. He looked at the alien girl, her small hand still holding the crystal. We'll get you home, he promised. No matter what. She nodded. And for the first time, Ethan saw a tiny smile on her glowing face, a flicker of hope in a world full of danger. And the chase had only just begun. The hidden valley was quiet now, but Ethan didn't trust it. He could feel the danger in the air. The alien girl clutched the crystal tightly, her glowing eyes scanning the sky. Above them, the massive alien ship hovered like a predator, its searchlights sweeping across the valley. We need a plan, Ethan whispered. The alien girl pointed to the crystal. It pulsed, and a faint blue path appeared in the air, a trail leading away from the valley. She wanted to go home, and they had to move fast. Ethan grabbed a small satchel from his backpack. Inside a few supplies, food, water, and a strange device he had picked up from the old outpost. It was old, scratched, but it hummed with energy when activated. Maybe it could help them. We stick to the shadows, he said. We move quietly, and we don't stop until we reach the ship you came from. The alien girl nodded. Together, they slipped through the undergrowth, careful not to make a sound. The valley's glowing plants lit their path just enough to see. But above, the searchlights of the enemy ship roamed, bright and unforgiving. Suddenly a loud crack echoed. A branch snapped under Ethan's foot. The alien girl froze, her eyes wide. Above them, a drone dropped from the enemy ship, scanning the area with a red glow. Ethan acted quickly. He raised the strange device, and it projected a sphere of blue light around them. The drone's scan bounced harmlessly off the shield. The alien girl whispered, almost like a song, and the device pulsed stronger. Ethan's heart raced. "Keep going," he urged. "We're almost there." They ran through narrow paths over rocks and streams, the alien girl guiding him with the crystal's glowing light. But the enemy wasn't far behind. From the canyon above, armored humans appeared, blocking their path. Ethan froze. "We can't fight them all," he said under his breath. The alien girl didn't hesitate. She raised her hands, and the crystal floated above her, pulsing bright blue. Suddenly, beams of energy shot out from it, creating a barrier that pushed the humans back. The armored figures stumbled, surprised. "Go!" Ethan shouted. They ran, following the crystal's path to a narrow cliffside. From here, Ethan could see it, a ship half buried in sand and rocks. Its hull was silver, battered, but still intact. It was the alien girl's only chance. The ship's ramp lowered. She ran toward it, but one of the enemy humans leaped from the cliffside, blocking the way. Ethan stepped forward, fists clenched, ready to defend her. "You don't understand," he shouted. "She's not your enemy." The armored human laughed, a harsh metallic sound. "Everything she is belongs to us." Ethan didn't have time to argue. He grabbed a rock and hurled it toward the human. At the same time, the alien girl moved. The crystal floated between them, glowing fiercely. A beam shot out, striking the armored figure, and sending him flying backward. Ethan's eyes widened. "Whoa. Okay, maybe you're stronger than I thought." She didn't respond, just motioned for him to hurry. Together, they climbed the ramp and entered the ship. The inside smelled of metal and energy. Strange controls glowed, and the alien girl moved with familiarity, touching panels and buttons. Ethan watched, amazed. "You've been here before?" She nodded, still focused. The ship hummed to life. Lights flickered, engines roared, and a holographic map appeared in front of them. Ethan saw stars, planets, and a path home. But then, alarms blared. The enemy ship had tracked them. Massive energy cannons charged, their red glow lighting the cockpit. Ethan swallowed hard. "We're not out of danger yet." The alien girl placed her hands on the controls, whispering softly in her language. Ethan didn't understand, but he followed her lead. The ship shook as it lifted off, sand and rocks flying beneath them. Outside, the enemy ship fired. Energy bolts sizzled through the air, missing their ship by inches. Ethan gritted his teeth. "Hold on." The alien girl focused. The crystal pulsed with energy, shielding the ship from attacks. Ethan realized the device he had been carrying could amplify the crystal. He activated it, and the ship glowed blue, faster and stronger than before. The enemy ship roared in frustration. Its cannons fired wildly, but the shield held. The alien girl's eyes glowed brighter than ever, guiding them through the desert sky, through cliffs and over canyons. Finally, the barren desert gave way to the stars. They broke the atmosphere, leaving the planet behind. Ethan gazed out the viewport, awestruck. "We did it," he whispered. The alien girl nodded but didn't relax. She pointed ahead. A fleet of ships, her peoples, waited in orbit. They were beautiful, silver and blue, shining against the darkness of space. Suddenly, the fleet noticed them. Lights blinked, and a welcoming signal appeared. Relief flooded Ethan's chest. They were safe. The alien girl turned to him, glowing softly. She touched his arm. For the first time, Ethan felt a connection deeper than words. She didn't speak English, but her eyes said it all. "Thank you, human." Ethan smiled. "Guess this is your home now," he said quietly. The alien girl nodded, then moved to the controls to guide the ship closer to her fleet. Ethan looked out at the stars, thinking of the journey they had just survived. Bullies, desert monsters, armored hunters, none of it mattered anymore. They had made it. But as they approached the fleet, a new signal appeared on the crystal. A warning. Another fleet, unknown and dangerous, was approaching from the outer systems. Ethan groaned. Here we go again. The alien girl glanced at him. Her glow flickered, but there was determination in her eyes. She whispered softly, and Ethan understood without words. They would face whatever came next, together. As the fleet welcomed her home, Ethan realized something profound. He had started as just a human walking through the desert, but now, he was part of something much bigger. He had helped save a life, bridged two worlds, and discovered courage he didn't know he had. The alien girl's people approached, scanning Ethan. But instead of fear, there was curiosity. They didn't understand him, but they sensed his bravery. And in that moment, Ethan felt something he had never felt before. He belonged, even in a galaxy far from Earth. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of mystery, danger, and wonder. Ethan looked at the alien girl, glowing blue and alive. She smiled faintly, and for a moment, everything felt possible. And somewhere, deep in space,